guys, welcome back to the Flower Files. I am Liza, your host. If this is the first time you're joining us, absolutely welcome. If you are returning, I am super excited for the episode today. I am joined today by my good friend Shannon, who definitely is one of those people in my life who helps keep me sane in this messy, crazy thing we call life. I'm really not quite sure what I would have done without you in all of the business things. So thank you. Shannon is my accountant. She is you're more than that. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Shannon Everhart, and I basically started out in the financial industry doing profit-sharing plans, retirement plans, 401k plans, things like that. And involved in that is also tax returns. Mm-hmm. It's monthly reporting to participants. It's a little bit of everything. So that's where I started, and I was in that for quite a long time. Loved doing it. Ended up moving to Maryland. That's how I got here, because I'm originally from Texas. And then I met this great guy and we got married, and
boys. It's always boys.
It was boys. Exactly, because yes, it's boys. And so he had an HVAC business, and I basically quit doing retirement planning and started working for him in the back office and did everything from payroll to taxes to all that good stuff. And before I went into retirement planning, I did work for a CPA doing the same thing, doing write-ups, doing tax returns, all that. So it was a very natural fit. Once he decided to kind of retire from HVAC work and go into the coin business,
coin business,
like buying and selling gold and silver.
Okay, so not Bitcoin.
No, not Bitcoin.
Okay.
No, actual silver coins, like collectible coins, those kind of things.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Okay.
So once he decided to do that and get out of the HVAC business, then I'm like, oh, well, I think I want to start this company. And so that's when I started Maryland Tax Checks. And I started with a partner in Texas. And we kind of worked together. She wanted to grow. I really didn't, because I just wanted it to be kind of not really a part-time thing, but just 4 or 5 months out of the year, which has turned into 14 months out of the year.
I was going to say
15 months out of the year. So
you do that like I do farming. It just doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
You send me messages sometimes at 10:30 at night, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes. No, and it's. I'm a night person too, so that tends to help. That's when I get a lot of stuff done and I can focus. The phones aren't ringing, those kind of things.
It's quiet.
Yes, it's quiet.
Yes.
So that's why that happens. But it's kind of evolving a little bit. I still do taxes. I still do bookkeeping. I still do payroll. I have administrative staff that I've hired to help do those things, and I want to bring on another accountant type person in the next 12 months or so that can take over a lot of that and take over the tax returns and stuff like that. I'll still do mostly the businesses and let them do the individual stuff. But we're growing, and that's a good thing. And a part of that is going into the fractional CFO side, because I've seen it. I've been on the other side of the table. It's not like I'm learning it out of a book and I'm trying to apply what I've learned to your business. I've been there.
I think that's the biggest thing for me is I can ask you questions, and you not only understand how to speak to me in normal terms, because, let's face it, I started this business because I love plants, not because I'm like, ooh, I love QuickBooks, although I do. But, when it comes to trying to figure out all of the pieces, sometimes there's just even a report sometimes. Sometimes that stuff's a little overwhelming, and I'm like, I don't know what I don't know what I don't know, so I don't know what to ask.
Yes.
And you're so good at breaking it down in a language that I can speak.
Thank you. But that's what I do, and I love it. I love working with small business owners, and I love to see how we can save you in taxes. I love how we can maximize your refunds and maximize, the dollars that you earn, because those dollars are hard to earn.
Yeah.
And you work hard for that. And a lot of people don't understand that, because they have the 9-to-5 job, and they have the 2 weeks of vacation, and they have all those things taken care of by someone else. They don't understand hey, the freeze is coming, the snow's coming, I got to get all the plants covered up or else.
Yes.
They don't understand, oh my goodness, we've lost the crop or whatever. How are we gonna cover all of it? We've been there. We've been, how do we pay for payroll? Let's pull out the personal credit card and make it happen this week.
Yeah.
And then you get reimbursed later and things like that. But that's what I'm here for. And I love doing it. I love trying to find, more ways to make money, more ways to do the marketing, more ways to get your name out there, and to work with other small business owners and to partner up and do those kind of things and just think outside the box. And sometimes is all you need is another person to listen. And then all of a sudden it just comes to you and you go, oh yeah, now I get it.
And someone safe to bounce ideas off of or ask those questions where I'm like, how many times have I prefaced a message to you, be like, don't kill me for asking, but because I'm like, this isn't working, I don't understand, or I was thinking about this and I realized either I made a mistake or I didn't calculate something correctly, or I don't know if I've done it correctly. And you're really good at just having it be normal speak. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you too, because it's been great working with you because of the fact that you are business oriented and you do want it to succeed, and you already think 10 steps ahead, which some people don't, and that's very nice and refreshing. And we can talk about it, and I can give you ideas, and you go, well, I don't know, or yeah, that sounds great, or let's do that, or let's do this, or let's tweak it. And it's good to have that sounding board too. And
it's nice because you're looking at it from a strictly financial perspective. You're not looking at it in necessarily the day-to-day grind. You're able to help me kind of dig through the weeds a little bit, for lack of a better pun.
Yes.
But okay, I want to do this. And as we just sat and did that whole exercise, here's the ideal. When I just sat back and was like, oh, it's not ideal. I was like, wait a minute, back up. And you're like, okay, well, let's make it ideal. Here's the minimum. Here's ideal. Well, what are we going to do in between? So that's, I just, as a business owner, I've made mistakes.
We all have.
And you have helped me sleep at night. You've helped me. And by all means, QuickBooks has been fantastic. That has helped me understand and have some of those foundational things. You help me understand the why. You help me understand how those pieces connect, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you don't understand the why, you can never get to how to change it to make it better. And what's the definition of insanity?
Well,
doing the same thing.
No, I'm kidding.
But doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different.
Yeah.
It's like it's not going to change unless you change something. And so it's looking at what can we change? How can we make it better? What can we do to network? What can we do to market? What can we do to, just make it more profitable? It could be as simple as, hey, why don't we just exchange this for that? And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Simple. Or code it differently. Like sometimes some of the coding of things, like I think it works like this, but I'm not sure if it works like that. Some of those initial settings and setups and okay, so my biggest thing today in chatting with you is I want to help people who are just starting out. Okay. If somebody is just beginning their business, and I don't care if it's flowers or quilts or widgets or whatever it is, or their service based, it doesn't matter. I want to talk about some of those core foundational pieces that when you start a business, things that you should know and take away from in that initial phase. Like, how do you have this thing and you want to do this thing, and if you don't speak tax and you don't speak finance and you don't speak, how do you know what some of the things are to start with? So if I came to you and said, hey, I want to start an LLC, can you help me? What would you say?
I would say, absolutely. Congratulations. You can do this. Because so many times that's the thing. It's like, I'm really good at this and I enjoy it, but I'm afraid. Don't be afraid. Because, look at, what is it, Thomas Edison or that invented the light bulb, and it was 6,000 tries before you got it right. I mean, chances are it's not going to take you 6,000 tries. So don't be afraid. Let's just do this. And you've got people like me and other people out there that can help you and can hold your hand and go, okay, let's do this. This is what you need to do next. And for me, it's with the CFO services and even just helping small business owners, it's a matter of how involved do you want me to be? Like, do you want me to just take it and run with it? And, to me, the hardest thing is what's the name of your business? Because thinking of a good name that they want, something that's catchy, something that sticks, something that sticks with people that people can remember, and then not changing it 12 times. That's kind of important. Branding is important. So pick a good name, run with it, Ask your friends, ask other people, hey, what do you think about this name? What do you think about that name? And then go get it. Talk to people that you trust.
Oh, and check it in the system.
Yes.
check that name in the system. And the other thing, check the acronym.
Yes.
'Cause
Yes.
yikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yikes.
Exactly.
Because, ooh, oh, wow, you don't want that one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. I think the website is cheapnames.com, where you can plug in a website to see if it's taken or not. So you want to check out the website. Do you want a .com? Do you want a .biz? Do you want a .org? Do you want a like mine's .pro? Because I've changed my name to thetaxchick.pro because in Maryland, it's a great name, and Maryland people are okay with it. But then when I moved back home to Texas people are like, why is it Maryland? And I don't know if you know that much about Texas people, but they're very territorial and proud of being from Texas, and they're not going to work with somebody that has Maryland in the name.
Right.
So I wanted it comparable to both places, and so I went the Tax Chick, but there's a Tax Chick out in California that's .com, and I said, okay, well, let's make it .pro. So I did the taxchick.pro. I also bought the domain, the taxchickpro.com, in case people add the .com afterwards. And then I'm branding it. But that's what you do, is pick the name, look to see if it's available. Are you going to do a website? And let's say you don't want to do one right away. Get that domain anyway, because you don't know. Maybe you're going to grow and it's going to explode, and then you're going to need a website. And if it's taken, it's taken. Or if they want to charge you $9,000, or they want to charge you $30,000, what's it going to be worth to you then?
Yeah.
Whereas right now, you might be able to get it on GoDaddy or some other place like that for $12 a year.
Exactly.
Go get it. And if it's not available, pick a different name. But talk to people that you trust, because here's the other side of it. If you talk to someone that you don't trust, or the word gets out and people go, oh, I really like that, and they go buy that domain, now they're in charge of how much you're going to pay for it.
And the other thing I learned is be careful how much you talk about it in front of things that listen. Because, well, not talk, but as soon as you start to Google that name and start to look at it, it triggers the system to be like, oh, that's going to be something that's going to be happening. And all of a sudden, the financials increase on it.
Yes, exactly.
I had no idea that, like, that's how the little bots worked behind the scenes.
Yes.
And
It's crazy.
like, oh my gosh. So as soon as you Google it,
if it's available, get it.
yeah. Google it.
Exactly.
Yeah, grab it.
Exactly.
The other thing I learned too is for us, wildly native, people would flip the name. Oh, you're that natively wild. So I went and immediately grabbed that one too. Because I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing that you might not know about domains, which you probably do, but if you get a domain like that, you can always direct it and program it to go to your main website. So if they type it in, they automatically get rerouted.
Yep. That was a huge thing. So
yes,
there's been so many pieces to think about. So you start off with a name. What happens? So, okay, say I'm growing flowers in the backyard. And so you've taken one of our courses and you are now growing things and you're starting to market, and you're at a farmer's market and you're starting to do a couple more things. When are you at a place where you have to be official?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Not bad for the blonde.
And as an enrolled agent with the IRS, the official answer is the minute you sell something and make $1, you have to report it.
So it doesn't matter. So there's no threshold. There's no nothing.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yes, because you're supposed to report every dollar that you make. And let me give you an example. The way that they actually finally got like Al Capone and some of the gangsters isn't from all the bad things they did. It's because they committed tax evasion because they didn't report their illegal income. That's how they put them in prison. Tax evasion. It's criminal.
Interesting.
So if you make $1, you're supposed to report it.
Is there an age limit? So if I'm 12 and I'm selling something at the farmer's market because it's fun.
Technically, no. But do 12-year-olds do? I mean, there's towns and cities where there's a little lemonade stand set up by a 6-year-old, and the police have come by and said, you're going to have to shut this down because you don't have a selling permit for lemonade, which seems a little odd, but it's the rules. It's the law. Yeah. So, yeah.
Ooh, and food is so funky.
Yes.
Food is so...
Yes.
Food is a whole different ball of wax.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But so that's the rule, is that when you make money, that's when you start reporting it. The key to this, even like for structure, because once you get the name, then it's like, well, what do I do? Do I do an LLC for a limited liability company? If I have a partner, is it a partnership? Which means it's its own entity, and now you've got another tax return to do. It can't just be a schedule on your own return. Makes it a little more complicated. So you've got to think about that. You've got to think about, well, if I have a partner, then how are we splitting the profit? If I have a partner, how are we splitting the expense? What about the end of the year? What if one of us wants to pull out? What if they want to bring another friend in? It's those kind of things. So it can get very complicated quick.
What is the difference between an LLC and an S corp? Because I see that all the time as like options when I'm doing something online. Oh, are you this or this? And it's like, okay,
yeah, what is it?
I know what it is now today, but when I first started, I was like,
it's Greek.
I'm a sole
It's all
proprietor.
Greek. Yes.
And then we became an LLC. And then now I'm more S corp. So can you?
Yeah. If you're kind of dabbling and you're kind of just starting out and you're like, I'm thinking I want to be a quilter and I'm going to make quilts for people and I'm going to do this as a service, and you love quilting and you get into it, and then all of a sudden when you're starting to get paid for something that you used to love, it's work, and now all of a sudden it's not as fun anymore and you don't want to do it anymore. Technically, the very first one that you do and the first dollar you make, you have to report it. You're a sole proprietor. And it's a Schedule C on your tax return where you report all your expenses and you report all your income, and then you're going to pay self-employment tax on the net profit, that kind of thing. And there's things that you can deduct along the way, like your cell phone and internet and, your marketing and office supplies and things like that. You keep track of all of that. Keep receipts. I had an audit a couple years ago where a gentleman had claimed his phone expenses, his cell phone, and he could prove it with a credit card. He could prove it with pulling up the bill off AT&T, but he didn't have all the bills. And because he didn't have all the detailed bills that listed just that phone, just that amount, they threw all those expenses out. Even though he could prove that he made that payment to AT&T, they're like, we don't care. We want to copy the bill. Cell phone companies only keep it for about 16 months. So wow. Even though you're getting it and it's there, it's not saved forever. Go get that digital copy and save it. Doesn't matter if it's digital. It doesn't matter if it's hard copy. Get a digital copy and save it, because if the IRS comes back and wants it, you can print it. So keep receipts for everything. And that's the biggest rule. So let's say you're a sole proprietor, you're Schedule C, you start making a lot of money. You decide, hey, I'm going to quit my job. Or, and I want to go to the next level and I want some protections. That's when you go LLC.
If you're a sole proprietor, does that mean that you can have employees or no?
Yes.
You can.
You can still have employees even as a sole proprietor.
Okay.
But the key is you're not an employee. You're a sole proprietor. Okay, and we'll explain that in just a minute when it gets to the S Corp. You can have a company and you can have an LLC, and that entity can choose to be taxed as an S Corp. That's the difference. It's not really, I'm setting it up as an S Corp. There's no such thing as a business S Corp. The S Corp comes into play when it's recognized by the IRS as having special taxation. So instead of it being a Schedule C on your personal tax return, when you choose that S Corp election and file a form with the IRS, it becomes its own entity. So it's like the business is a separate person. They have their own tax return. And now you can be an employee of that business. Where you're going to get a W-2, the company's going to pay Social Security for you, you're going to have withholding, all that. And there's other benefits to that as well. But again, you don't want the expense of having an extra tax return and bookkeeping and checking accounts and literally keeping it separate from everything you do, because it's its own entity. You don't want to commingle the funds.
Right.
Same thing with an LLC. When you set up a company and you want that limited liability, that's the protection that if somebody comes along and sues you, they can only sue so far. They can only sue the company. They can't come after you personally. That's why people set up LLCs. So when you have that, if you commingle funds, the minute that you commingle, which means you're mixing your personal with your business and vice versa, then you don't get that protection anymore. So they can keep suing everything and they can take the personal. You don't want to do that. You want it separate. So the minute that you really start making money, you need to have a separate bank account. You need to pay the company bills out of the company, not your personal account. And when you get ready to take money to pay your mortgage or pay your expenses, write a check to yourself and it's a draw. It's an owner's draw. When it's an S Corp, you can still take money out like that, and it's still a shareholder draw, but you're also getting a W-2. I don't really know.
Okay.
But it's just S Corp. That's what they call it.
Okay.
It's a subchapter S. That's what it is.
Okay.
Subchapter S Corp. So yeah.
Okay.
But that's what it is. But it's one step below like a C Corp, like the big corporations. which have even more reporting requirements, but it gives you special taxation. And not to get too technical, but where it comes into play is on your personal tax return. A Schedule C as a sole proprietor on your tax return, that net profit, let's say you sold $100,000 and your expenses were $50,000, so you made a net profit of $50,000. That tax return is going to charge you self-employment tax of 15.3% on that net amount of $50,000. And let's say you have 10 kids and you have all these tax credits for child tax credits. And it applies it to the tax that you owe. So let's say you don't really owe any tax because of all the credits. Then it's going to add that self-employment tax after. So you can never apply credits to it to get rid of it. It's going to always be there after that tax. Whereas an S corp, it applies it what they call above the line, meaning it's part of your ordinary income before they apply the tax. So it's added to your ordinary income like your W-2 income. Then it takes off the standard deduction or itemized deduction if you itemize. Then it charges the tax. Then you get all your credits. Okay, so it could get it to zero where you don't know anything. But if you have it Schedule C and you make money, you're paying self-employment tax. With an S corp, you may not, depending on your own personal situation. So that's why it's a big thing, and there's some reimbursement things that you can do through what's called an accountable plan. It's just a lot of different benefits to doing it that way. But you don't want to do it if you're only making $500 a year or $5,000 a year. It doesn't make sense. Because there's an expense involved.
I was going to say, where are the thresholds? Like how? So I've started a business. I'm selling flowers out of my backyard, and I'm doing really well. And maybe I'm not selling them out of my backyard. Maybe I'm selling them out of my garage now. So I'm harvesting. They're in the garage, and I have one person who's part-time, and they're helping me a little bit. So now I've gone from, I'm doing all the work. I've now hired somebody. How do you know where those thresholds are as your business grows to make those changes from, okay, I'm sole proprietor, now I'm going to move to LLC? Is there a financial threshold, or is it if I'm doing things in the house and it's out of the garage and I'm going to farmers market a couple times, I've found 3 farmers markets, and I'm doing some things over the internet, is that still sole proprietor? When do you make that shift to LLC?
The LLC is just giving you liability protection. So if you're doing something like selling a flower, I know there's liability involved, but the liability is minimal because you're selling them a product that's not going to cut them, hurt them, those kind of things.
They're not ingesting them.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
So you just really have to think about, how much am I making? How much do I want to devote to this business? Is it going to become my full-time job? And if it is, then maybe that's how you started out as an LLC, to get that protection. It's all about the protection when it's LLC. To take the step from an LLC or sole proprietor to go to an S corp, that's when you're really starting to make money. You're focusing, you're hiring people, you're expanding, you're doing all these things, and you want the tax benefits. Maybe your spouse makes a lot of money, and you're making money now, but you don't want the self-employment tax added to the end. You want to add it to the income so that you can get to zero because you have 3 or 4 kids and you have daycare, all of those things. So it's a planning thing. There's not a hard, fast rule. Well, when you hit 50,000 net profit, then do it. Is that the time? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But that's something that I can certainly help. There's other accountants out there that can help, those kind of things. But find an accountant or a tax professional that will sit down with you, walk through the numbers, do some planning, have conversations, not just go, give me your information, here's your tax return, thank you very much.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
And I'm not trying to say that certain, how do I say this? I'm not trying to say like an H&R Block where all they do is taxes. Is bad or wrong, but I feel like as your business grows, you start to need somebody who you can flex with a little bit and be like, here's my information, here's things that I'm seeing, can you help me understand what these pieces are? What are some of the top mistakes you've seen as people when people first start out that you're like, okay, you should have set it up this way? What are some of the, because I know you have seen.
Well, not only have I seen it, but I've also done it. There's things that you do. And like, I'm a softie, I'll admit it. So one of the biggest things that I did in my business to start out with is that I sold myself short. You know, it's like you're not charging enough for, if it's a service business, your services. You want to give it away to your friends. You want to give it away to your family. You want to, but there's overhead involved. There's, you know, even from a tax professional standpoint, I'm paying for software. I'm paying for a computer. I'm paying for a printer. I'm paying for toner. I'm paying for electricity. Yes, because there's a lot that went into learning how to do this, because it's not just 2 + 2 = 4 and that's your tax. It's, here's the tax code and can we really deduct this? Well, does it apply to your business? And there's a whole series of questions that you learn to ask and you learn to look for. So yes, it's the education, it's the experience,
but you have certifications that you have to upkeep as well. I mean,
yes,
so
continuing education all the time.
Yeah, there's so
hours.
much. Yeah,
there are. And it changes every year. And it changes with administration. I mean, look at one big beautiful bill that Trump just enacted last year, that was effective at the beginning of the year. A couple years ago, we were already in tax season, and they signed the law in February retroactively to the beginning of the last year. Now you've got software companies scrambling to program it when we should already be full blown doing taxes and filing, and we can't. And then we've got people calling going, how does this apply to me? And we're like, we don't know.
Yeah,
like,
give me a minute.
Call your senator and ask them. You know what I mean? Because we don't know either. And then you've got the professional organizations trying to roll it out to us so that we know what to do. And teach people. And so, you know, it's always changing. And that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for, well, I have 2 W-2s and 2 kids. Yeah, it sounds really easy. But first year out, it takes a long time to enter that information. Second year out, you're getting the experience. You're getting the, hey, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? Have you increased your 401k? It's like talking to people about planning and saving that money. Because if I can keep you, if you're kind of in between a 22% tax bracket and a 24% tax bracket, and just by saying,
it doesn't sound like a lot, that 2%, but if you're dealing with $100,000
exactly,
or $200,000, that 2% suddenly, you're going to pay attention to.
$2,000, $4,000. Wouldn't you rather put it in your 401k, reduce your income, and keep your tax bracket below, or lower? Or let's say you're going from 22% to 32% based on, I want to take this out of my retirement account. Are you sure you want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do a 2% jump to 24%, but let's not do a 10% jump to 32. So it's that planning, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You don't just need a tax preparer to just go, okay, this is what I'm doing. And sometimes you get in a loop with even CPA firms that go, here's your tax return. And you don't understand the numbers and you don't know. And ultimately, and I tell people this all the time, I want to sit down with you and I want to explain the numbers. I want you to know what's on this tax return because you're signing it. And if the IRS comes knocking, they're not coming knocking for me. They're coming knocking for you because it's your return.
Right.
Understand the numbers. Right. Be sure you can back up those numbers. And there's, one more thing to it is that I'm not an auditor. I'm not auditing what you tell me. I'm taking it at face value. I'm asking questions. If it's reasonable, we go on. If it doesn't make any sense, I'm like, how can you have $95,000 of expenses on $5,000 worth of income? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't pass the smell test, so to speak.
Right.
So I can't file this return for you because it makes no sense. Right. Show me how it cost you $95,000 to make 5.
Right. Unless you're startup.
Unless you're
startup. I get that.
And the first year is harder. And just like you with, the farm and the different things that you need to be able to harvest and to plant and to do things. It may have cost you $95 to get started. Yeah. But then you depreciate it. You don't expense
the tractor,
exactly.
The truck, the delivery, you add all of those things. So that first year, that makes sense.
Yes.
But if you're looking at
year 10, and you've been making 150, and then all of a sudden you go to 5, and you still have all these. No, there's something wrong.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
So that's the key too. Is look for professionals that you trust. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't get your questions answered, you need to go someplace else. You just do. Be comfortable with who you're working with, and if you're not comfortable, you're not in the right spot.
And I think that's the biggest thing for me personally is first of all, I never feel any judgment. And I can just be like, here's everything. And I think I've screwed up. Can you help me figure this out?
and usually for the record, she is not screwed up. It's just learning. And one of the things.
And I'm like, oh, that's what that means.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the things I've been taught too is that the numbers don't lie. And because again, you ask about the mistakes. Sometimes it's like, well, we call it the bigger watermelon truck. Well, I'm buying watermelons for $5 a piece, and I'm selling all of them. I'm buying them for $5, and I'm selling them for $5, and I'm selling all of them, so let's get a bigger truck.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you've got all this money coming in, but you've also got it all going out. You're not making anything because you're selling it for what you're buying it for. A bigger truck doesn't make any difference.
Right.
So even though you're making money and the numbers are there, why isn't it a net profit? Why don't you have money in the bank account? Why don't you have money to do the things that you want to do?
And like, where does it go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so those are things to look at and understand the numbers. And there's a process. Like one of the services that you and I've worked on is the CFO services. And it's kind of like the next level where we're beyond tax planning. We're beyond here's the numbers, but it's literally looking at cash flows. It's looking at budgets. It's looking at what do I need to do to be able to meet this goal? How do I grow the business? How can I, what's my capacity?
Right.
What are my employees
that has
good
been a
at?
Huge conversation for us because we know that, okay, there were 2 weekends last year where we did 6 weddings. And it was 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Yeah, it was 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. We were out of space. We were all fried. We're all exhausted. But when you look at the bottom line, I was like, I don't think it mattered. It didn't matter if we did 4 or 6. It was very similar because the expenses shifted. So then we went back through and really dug into those numbers to try to figure out, but why? I think that's the question I ask you all the time is like, but why?
But why?
Like I have this, and this set up, but why?
Why is it coming out the way it is?
Yeah.
And do you need to charge more? Are you charging what the market is? Even looking at the products that you sell and the prices that you're charging. And do you want to work harder or do you want to work smarter?
Right.
Because even, again, personal experience. I've got all these clients, and the first year that I was in business was COVID. So I had all of these customers coming into my office who were elderly because they were used to going to the library and getting it done by ARP for free. So poor little Shannon feels sorry for these guys. And okay, I'll do it for $100. I'm not covering my overhead. I'm not covering my time. So now I've got 50 clients that I'm only charging $100, and I can't increase it.
And they're going,
to what the market is.
I'll come back to her next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't increase it to what the market is and what it should be.
Yeah.
Because they're seniors, and I feel bad, and there's a place for that. And don't get me wrong. And and it's like, okay, so pick your number. How many? And I'm not saying charity, but how many things do you want to give away? What's your limit? You need a limit. And then you need to charge what you're worth because you're worth something. Otherwise, everybody would be doing what you're doing and you wouldn't have something to sell.
Yeah.
You're worth something. Like, for instance, the flowers and all that, just like I mentioned earlier today, I do not have a green thumb. If you give me a plant, is what you need to do is go find somebody to make a bet with and see how long it's going to take me to kill it. I mean, that's what happens. And then they go, I'm like, how do I take care of this? They're like, just water it. I'm like, okay.
Okay, but once a week, once a month, once a day, what are we doing?
Like, it's floating. I watered it. Oh, it's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, no, there's a little more to it than just water it.
Well,
that
if it
doesn't
makes you
translate.
Feel any better?
So.
I can't keep cactus. They just kind of shrivel. Like, but I watered it. They're like, that was too much. Like, I give up.
Okay, exactly.
I'm going outside now.
I don't know.
Like, nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nope.
I mean, I can grow weeds. I'm good at weeds.
I'm so good at weeds.
Good at weeds. The only green thumb I'll have is if it's paint or it's green marker. So I'm sorry, but that's what it is. We all have our gifts. That is not mine. So I admire you for that.
I'm very grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Oh my God.
But yeah, charge what you're worth. Get what you're worth. Get that experience, because even though, like, the second and third year people would come in and they give me their stuff. Well, I know them. I know their history. I know what to expect. There should be a brokerage statement. There should be a W-2. There should be interest statement. Where's your interest statement? Oh, here it is. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Or let me pull it up on my phone or whatever. Yeah. Whereas a new provider would have forgotten that. Yeah. There's value in that. And then, well, it only took you 15 minutes this year. But do you know what it took me to become an enrolled agent? Do you know how many tests I had to pass? Do you know how long it took me to study to do this? Mm-hmm. Do you know what it took me to learn how to farm so that I know, just like you talked about earlier, the salt's going to come up and it's going to kill the plants, and we have to, there's things you have to do. It's a process.
I think somebody said there's 3 prices. Mm-hmm. The price for you to do it, the price for me to do it, and the price for me to fix what you did.
Exactly. And those are the best. Those are just golden, because they come in and go, I haven't done my tax return for 7 years. You're like, okay, that sounds great. Let's sit on it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, mother of God.
Yes. And then they go, well, I don't have my stuff. So then it turns into, instead of just tax preparation, it's like, well, now I get to do research. There's a fee for research because I know how to do the research.
Yeah.
You can do it. I can tell you how to do it. But then it's setting up the ID me. It's setting up the account. And they're just like, And if they haven't done their tax return in 7 years,
They're not going to
They
know what
don't
that
want
stuff
to
is.
deal with that.
No.
That's the problem. They haven't wanted to deal with it. Now they have to because their kids going to college and they need FAFSA forms, or they're wanting to refinance their house, or they want to buy a house, or they want whatever. So there's a reason why all of a sudden they showed up in our office, because they clearly aren't afraid of the IRS, or they would have filed the tax return. So there's another reason that they have to have the tax return.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, research is this much, because it took me a while to get certified to be able to get the research.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get to where I can call the practitioner line, because I have to have certifications to do it.
Yeah.
So get paid what you're worth. Don't sell yourself short, and set your limits. You know, what's it going to be? And then again, comes back to the work smarter, not harder. If you lose 10 clients, but they were only $100 a piece anyway, but then you gain one client that's what it should be, you've gained so much more time, and you're making the same amount of money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
When at the end of the day.
And when people say time is money, time is. It
is.
really is.
And
it really is.
And how much do you want to do? Because like right now, I'm single and my kids are grown. So it's not like I'm taking time away when I'm sending an email at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it, it's like, because I'm on a roll, I'm focused, I can get it done, it's done.
Yep.
And so that's why I do it. Like the other day, I was wide awake at 2 a.m, and I get up and I'm like, I have tax returns I can do. So I get up, go do tax returns, send it. And then one of the guys was like, you're up at 2:30 in the morning? I thought it would slow down. I'm like, well, it kind of has, but I still have stuff to do.
Yeah.
So I just do it,
And sometimes it's better to do those things that are on your mind and just get it done.
Exactly.
And then you can go back to bed.
Exactly.
It's like,
it's the flexibility, but
yes,
definitely charge what you're worth, set your boundaries and stick to them, and people will respect you for that. And when you do that, then they'll respect you, you'll have your time back, and it's so much easier. It's just so much better, because you're a person too, and you have a right to a life, and do that. Take care of you.
Yeah.
Put your oxygen mask on before assisting others, because if you don't have oxygen, you can't even take care of yourself.
You're right.
So take care of yourself too. Take care of your family.
Yeah.
And charge what you're worth.
Yeah.
That's the biggest mistake. As far as business setup goes, it's the commingling. It's the not taking care of the tax return. It's the not taking care of, I should do sales tax. I should do this. I should do that. Do it. And if you don't want to do it, or you can't do it, or it's overwhelming, because this stuff can be very overwhelming. I mean, I had a gentleman the other day that's like, I'm afraid they're going to come take my house. And I said, I promise you they're not taking your house, because there's rules they have to follow. They have to send you a notice, and then they have to give you 30 days, and then they have to send you another notice, and so it's like, okay, we're already at 4 months and we haven't even got the first give me $1 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I said, they're not coming knocking on your door doing that. They're not doing that.
And that's a lot of work for them.
Yes.
And
losing sleep, don't lose sleep over it. That's what I'm here for. Call me.
Yeah.
Email me, text me, whatever you got to do, and I'm happy to help. And but that's the biggest thing is just, I have this saying that I remind myself, because sometimes I get too focused and I get too stressed out. Don't let it stress you out, because the minute that it becomes too much stress, it's not fun anymore.
No.
You need to have fun being a business owner.
Then you get brackish. You get all salty.
That's right. That's right. You get brackish. But it's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die. And it's going to be okay. It'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just take a deep breath, regroup, and then do what you need to do. But take care of yourself and take care of your family. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have that,
nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters.
And I think that's why most people start a small business. I think most people start a small business because they want flexibility, time with family, and they have values that maybe don't match somewhere else. So they want to do these things. Yes. But okay, how do you do it? How do you do it?
And that's why you charge what you're worth. Yeah. Period.
Yeah.
Whether it's your grandmother, or it's your mom, or it's your neighbor next door, or it's your best friend for the last 50 years, it doesn't matter. Because I guarantee you that they're going to go someplace else and pay somebody else to do it if they don't pay you. Right. And they would rather give you the money to do it.
Right.
And they would rather know, I can call this person and ask them questions if I need to.
Right.
One of the questions that I get a lot is, well, how do you service Maryland clients? Because I'm now in Texas and I do everything remotely, which is a blessing from COVID, because everybody started working remote and it works.
Right.
But one of the things I started doing this year is videos. So literally I will take the return and put it on the screen and walk through every single line and every single number on a video, and you can listen to it and watch it at your convenience, and pause it and go back and rewind and watch it again. And if it doesn't answer your questions, we can do a Zoom call. Whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
I want you to understand the numbers so that you know the why.
Yeah.
Why am I making $1 million, but $1 million coming through my account, but I'm only netted 10 grand.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Let's find it.
Yeah.
Let's find it.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie. Let's find it. So, and
Huge.
And you're in this business to make money. And if you can't make money,
then what the hell are you doing?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
And the IRS says the same thing.
Yeah.
Because even on a Schedule C or in any kind of business, they want you to make money for at least 2 of 5 years. And if you're not, they can come back and say it's a hobby and discount everything. They'll still charge you tax on the income. They just won't let you take the expense.
Yeah.
So make some money. And they don't say how much you have to make. So even if you're making
$2
profit,
no.
it's like I made a profit. So, it's hard to argue that. But at the same time, you made a profit. You met the rule.
Yep.
So it's kind of,
You did the thing.
Just be legitimate. Don't lie. Keep receipts. That's the big thing. Nobody keeps receipts. Get an app on your phone. Take a picture of it.
Take a picture.
It doesn't have to be a paper copy that you pull out. If you can print it, if you can email it to them, that's proof enough. Keep the receipts. Take a picture, save it on your phone, upload it to the cloud, whatever.
That
way you have it.
I have to admit, I'm like having a slight heart attack because I'm like, do I have all of my phone bills? Because they're all emailed. I'm going, oh my God, I got to download and keep that in a separate folder.
Because we just depend on all these companies to do this for us, and they don't.
Yeah.
We've got to do it ourselves. We've got to take responsibility and accountability for ourselves and our business.
It's like, well, I can just log in and it's all right there. And if I need to pull it back, I can.
And I'll just call him and get him to do it. No, because he tried to do that and they don't have it. It's gone. 16 months, it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrifying.
And if you think about 16 months, we're talking, okay, like we just did 2025 tax returns. So think January 25. Fast forward, January 26 is 12 months. Then you add 4 more. We're already at 16 months.
Yeah, we're done.
So if you just filed your tax return, or if you extended and you're not even filed till October, you're not even getting the audit letter until maybe next year. We're still getting the audit letters from 20 and 21 and 22 because of COVID, because they got so far behind. So there's no way I'm going back to 2021 and getting that from a company. It's way gone.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go find it somewhere.
No,
they're not going to go to backups. No.
They don't care.
No.
No.
So pull it off the internet. Save it. Same thing with bank statements.
I keep them paper.
Save it digitally. Yeah.
Just hold on to those suckers because there's something about them. Like, I need them in paper. I need to I need that info.
And that's a big thing too, is backups. If you have if it's not on the, like QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online, it's saved to the cloud. Okay. But if you have a desktop, or you have accounting records, or you have your receipts and they're electronic, I mean, an external thumb drive or whatever, or external drive, it's not that expensive, $100. Back up your computer and then put it in a safe or put it in a firebox. I mean, those are $50.
Yeah.
But at least you have it. Especially if you have a business, because if they come back and they audit you, you've got to recreate that stuff. And to go get it is, it's hard. And do you have the time to do that? Because you're building a business and you're trying to make money, and now you've got to stop everything. Everything goes on hold. And it's like, let me go do this. And a lot of times, small business owners, they're the business. So another thing of planning is, what's the succession plan? Yeah. Like, do you want to retire from it one day? Do you want it to continue?
You want to retire? Are you going to sell it? What do you,
And if you're the business, you can't sell it.
No.
Because it's your job. Right. So are you creating a job for yourself?
Right.
Or are you creating a business that you can sell, market, or will run itself so you can take vacation? Or that it's a business that can run itself and pay you into retirement to travel, to do whatever.
Right.
It's like, what's your goal? Right. So, and again, that comes with the CFO services of the planning and the goal setting and looking at the budgets and the cash flows and trying to get you and help you to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about how do I save money on taxes, because that you can do that all day long. You can get a CPA and y'all can sit down and talk about it if they're willing to talk to you about it.
Yep.
Because they are so overloaded too. And a lot of them don't charge what they're worth necessarily. So they're working 80 hours a week, especially during tax season. And they don't have time to go over tax return.
No, they're crazy.
But
they're just
just really have to find somebody that you feel comfortable with and that will explain things. Perfect. That's the key.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I could definitely talk to you for like the next 3 hours about this.
I'm sorry, and I can keep talking.
No, you're fine.
A lot of words.
So what I want to do is we're going to pause for part 1.
Okay.
So if you've started a business, the biggest takeaway is keep your receipts.
Keep your receipts. Absolutely. Keep your receipts.
And make sure you have all your identification and all of that kind of stuff really, really set. So everything makes sense and everything kind of flows. I feel like when you first start a business, there's so many things to do that it's kind of like, where do I start? Because it all like is interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to do part 2,
Okay.
where we can kind of go into some of those other questions.
Okay.
So
Sounds great.
part 1. So thank you guys for joining us today on the Flower Files. All of the usual, like, comment, share, all of those things, because you know that definitely helps. Shannon, if they wanted to reach out to you, where would they find you the best?
Okay. Probably 2 different ways. You can call me at the phone number 410-443-2424. It's a business number.
And I'll put that in the show notes.
Or you can email me, Shannon@thetaxchick.pro.
Perfect.
And I'll be happy to help any way I can.
Awesome. So. And do you have any social media
yes,
things?
actually on Facebook, thetaxchick.pro.
Okay.
And my picture's on it, so that's me. But yeah,
I'm glad it's you on there.
It's me. Sorry. But yeah.
Awesome sauce. All right, guys. Well, thank you, and we will see you in in our next podcast.
Thanks. Bye.